these things achieves happiness. And Krishna also discusses about karma. Karma is the reaction of any activity that we undertake. Of course, many people do not believe in God, so how can they believe in karma? So karma is the principle of reaction to activities. In simple language, if we perform good activities, pious activities, then the result will be good karma. Good karma means good health. One takes birth in a good family. One has lots of wealth without much effort. One has happy family, long lifespan, freedom from obstacles. This is the result of past pious activities. Some people never take any medicine, they're never sick, money comes very easily, or they have good wives, happy family. So we cannot see it, but that is also, everything has a cause. So the cause of so-called material happiness, this is past pious activities. And impious or sinful activities, that also has a cause. The result is poverty, disease, reverses in business, general dissatisfaction, poverty, all these things. So, this is the science of karma. So many people would agree, oh, good karma is definitely superior to bad karma. But we're of the opinion both are useless, because the result of pious activities is temporary material enjoyment. And the result of sinful activities is temporary material misery. But the main thing in both of them is the word temporary. For example, even the hellish planets taking birth in a hellish situation, but this is also temporary. And if, for example, if one steals, if one lies, if one cheats, if one has illicit sex life, if one eats meat, if one takes different types of intoxicants, general dishonesty, the result of that is temporary suffering, but not permanent. We believe in hell, but we cannot believe that hell is eternal. Because the result of a material activity, how can it be eternal? So hell or a hellish situation, this is also temporary. And so-called pious activities, like feeding people, even feeding animals, being honest, controlling one's senses, giving charity. The result of pious activities is also temporary. So as a result of pious activities, one may achieve happiness in the human form of life, but also one may achieve the temporary celestial planets. We should not be so foolish to think that in this entire universe, the Earth planet is the only planet with life on it. That is foolish. Just like in the ocean, the bodies of the residents of the ocean are mostly made of water, like jellyfish, fish, all these prawns, oysters. Their bodies mostly consist of water because they live in the water. In the same way, those who live on the Earth planet, their bodies are mostly made of earth. So those who live in the celestial planets, like the sun or the moon, their bodies are made of fire. Therefore, we cannot see them. Or their bodies are made of subtle energy, like the mind, or their bodies are made of intelligence. But we cannot see them. We are not qualified to see them, but they exist. The result of pious activities, one may even take birth in the celestial planets, but that will also be temporary. That is not permanent. what people talk about in Islam as Jinnah or paradise, what the Jews and Christians called, heaven, these exist. But this is called the celestial heavenly planets. There one gets a body which is unaffected by hunger or pretty much hunger or thirst, old age. They live millions of years, but they also one day have to give up that body. And if one goes to the hellish planets, one also gets appropriate bodies suitable for residence in hell, but that is also temporary. So Krishna describes the so-called pursuance of good activities, material good activities, and material bad activities. The result is both temporary. Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvana loka puna avitira Arjuna. Arjuna, even if one achieves the highest material planet, that is also temporary. So, karma, the reaction of so-called good and bad activities, that is only possible in the human form of life. Why? Only human knows good and bad. Dogs, cats, insects, they have no knowledge of good and bad. Therefore, for them, there's no such thing as good or bad activities. But humans, we have knowledge. So karma can only be performed in the human form of life. Only human can steal, for example. If a dog steals a bone, he is not punished. But human steals, then human is punished. That's why things like marriage and ownership are only in the human form of life. So what activities we perform, therefore the human form of life is very special. It's called karma yoni, the birthplace of karma. And especially the earth planet, this is called karma bhumi, the place of karma. So only human can perform good or bad activities. So what activities we do in this very short human form of life, this can determine the happiness and distress of many millions of future lives. If I perform very, very bad activities, maybe I'll take birth as insect, plant species, bird, aquatics. So 8,400,000 different species that one can attain because of activities performed in the human form. So we should be very careful how we behave and what we do. So this is called samsara, material existence. And who is controlling all this? God. God here is called Ishvara. Ishvara means who gives the result. Therefore, having this knowledge, one does not blame anyone for someone's so-called happiness or distress. Who is to blame? Only I am to blame because I performed the previous activities. So no one else is to blame. So how to escape this cycle of karma? This cycle, if I cannot, because karma is good and bad. So how can I perform an activity which is neither good or bad? So devotion is the opportunity to rise beyond so-called piety or so-called impiety, to cross the restrictions, the results of good and bad action. So what is not good and what is not bad, that is devotion. Because so-called good and bad activity, this is any activity performed while forgetting Krishna. Okay? Like, okay, Maria, can you hear me? Okay. Who do you cook for? Who do you cook for?
Who do I cook for?
Yeah.
My boyfriend, primarily.
That's
And me.
sad.
And me.
Because in cooking, there's so much violence, right? The fire's burning. Can you hear me? Right. The fires many little insects and microbes are going into the fire. So that's causing so much violence. The water we're boiling inside is millions and millions of little microbes. They're also dying. What to speak of the spinach, the grains, the chicken, the fruits? These all come from different places. No? If I'm taking from the earth, I have to pay back. This is karma. I'm taking milk from the cows, I'll have to pay that back. That is karma. Even a vegan diet, I'm killing so many spinaches and plants. So even a simple activity like cooking, this is full of violence, full of reaction, full of karma. So if you cook for anyone else except Krishna, you'll have to suffer the result of that karma. No? Krishna says, Yagna tat karma lodoko yaloka yam karma bandhana. Any activity done separate from me, from Krishna, that is the cause of bondage. Because if you're cooking for Krishna, and if you're just cooking for yourself, no, that is karma. And then you eat it, that is karma. Therefore, all activities are full of violence. Cleaning your house, how much we're killing. Driving on the road, how much we're killing. No? Even sleeping, how many microbes we're finishing. Our houses are made of wood and stone and many things. We also have to pay the tax for that activity. So so-called good activities in which Krishna is not involved, the activity is not done for Krishna, this will give reaction. Means you will have to take birth again to enjoy the good result. And if one performs bad activities, forgetting Krishna, sinful activities, you will have to take birth again to suffer. Therefore, good and bad activities are devoid of Krishna consciousness, devoid of remembrance of Krishna. These are both the cause of birth and death. Understand, Maria? Why you don't cook for Krishna? Who owns the spinach? Who created the food grains? Who's giving oxygen? Who's giving fire? Who's giving this body by which we're performing the activities? Who's giving all the paraphernalia? This body, the senses, the intelligence, the ingredients, where's it coming from? Ultimately, it's all coming from Krishna. So if one performs activity without remembering him, if one performs activity not to please him, not to give the result of one's actions to him, then that activity gives reaction in the form of material enjoyment and material misery. So this is the only way to become free from karma. Many people are very interested in performing good karma. For example, Gurudev gave the example of organ donorship. You know, on your driving license, you have that in England? On your driving license, the little square, you agree to be an organ donor.
I think
Right, Maria?
in Wales you
Ah.
have, in Wales, unless you opt out, you're already submitted to that, I think.
Nice choice. So just say you think, I will do a good thing, I will donate my kidney so someone can have a kidney transplant. So imagine that kidney goes to the next Adolf Hitler. Then who's responsible for his life? You will also have to pay some tax because you donated the kidney. Like you give a donation to someone in the street, like in the station, someone's begging. And you give them £10 and they go and buy some alcohol, or they go and buy a Big Mac. By taking Big Mac and by drinking alcohol, that person becomes degraded. Who's responsible for their degradation? You are, because you gave the £10. So Guru Maharaj gave an example one time. There was a criminal. So he was attacking one house to rob the occupants. So the owner shot him. So the criminal somehow staggered onto the road. He fell down. Then someone drove past and saw him bleeding on the side of the road. They didn't know he was a criminal. They just thought he's been injured. So one very wealthy man had opened a free hospital. So the criminal was taken to the free hospital. He got operated on. His life was saved. He got blood and medicine. He stayed there 2 months eating and resting. When he became strong, he came out of the hospital. What's the first thing he did, Maria, when he came out of the hospital? He went and killed the person who shot him. Who is responsible for that murder? The man who opened the free hospital, he's also responsible. So karma, very difficult to understand, very hard to perform any activity. The result will always come and bite you in the ass at the end of the day. So in simple language, any activity we do which is forgetful of Krishna, where you're simply trying to enjoy the result of your actions, you'll have to pay the tax for that activity. And that tax is repeated birth and death. Because the creation, this body, everything comes from Krishna. You're taking his things without offering it back to him. That's called theft. So karma is the reaction of thieving. So Krishna discusses all this in the third canto, the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So what we see in this world, so-called happiness and so-called distress, what is the cause? The cause is activity. The cause is action. And any action done without remembering, without done for Krishna's pleasure, that will cause repeated birth and death. Any questions from anyone? Maria is a vegetarian? Well, you better get on that wagon quickly. You're taking the life and giving pain to many of the living entities. So who's going to pay the tax for all that? No? So anyway, this is the art of knowledge, the art of action. No?
Maharaj,
Therefore, this is, yes.
Shoned has a question.
Who does?
Shoned.
Okay, I remember her from last week. What's her question?
Shoned, do you want to?
Yes. So what's the antidote? So how do I devote when I'm eating a meal, when I'm preparing that meal, the whole cycle of, let's just use the same example.
Yes.
Is it enough to have the intention that I'm devoting the preparation of the food? So in each step of that cycle of picking the food, chopping the food, cooking the food, eating it, if I intend that cycle is in devotion to Krishna, is that the antidote? Is that an example, or could you elaborate on how
Yes. Right? If you're cooking for Krishna, who you're eating for? Krishna, right?
Yeah.
Who you washing the pots for?
Yeah. Krishna.
You can say his name, one guy. Okay, I'm sorry. Who you going shopping for? Krishna.
Mm.
Who you earning money for? I'm earning money for his service. This house is not my house, this is his house. Everything in this house is for his service. I am also for his service. So all I and everything I possess is his. Right? That is Krishna consciousness. No one can avoid cooking. There's no one in the world who can avoid cooking or eating or cleaning or working. Even breathing, this is also a karma. This is an activity. So action, everyone has to act. But only someone who remembers Krishna while acting, that person achieves success. So in all activities, remember Krishna. That is Bhagavad Gita. Like Arjuna, many people think, how do I escape from karma? I'll escape by karma from non-action. If I don't do anything, there's no karma. Is that right, Soned? Because no one can remain without doing something for a second. You're sitting, that is also an activity. You're breathing, you're thinking, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're smelling, you're sleeping. This is also an action. So no one can remain inactive even for a second. So Buddhism is one example of people who try to become free from karma by inaction. What do the Buddhists do? They give up everything and they go to the cave and meditate. And what they meditate on? Nothing. Zero. Emptiness. So they propose this theory: by meditation and by freedom from activity, one achieves freedom from the cycle of birth and death. But this is not the process. One cannot become free from the result of karma by inaction, because there's no such thing as inaction. Now in Bhagavad Gita, if you read, many people misunderstand Bhagavad Gita. They read the first chapter. Arjuna was a warrior. Arjuna is a king. A king means to fight. A king means to protect the citizens. A king means has to use violence. Just like a policeman, he has to use violence sometimes. Otherwise, he cannot protect the citizens. Right? So Arjuna, he's a fighter, he's a warrior, he's a soldier, he's a king. But when he saw all his friends and relatives on the other side, he became full of compassion. Oh, Krishna, how can I kill them? They are my friends and relatives. Arjuna was very powerful, no doubt he could kill them, but what will happen to the children of them? What will happen to their wives? What will happen to the families? Because those wives will have no husbands, lusty men will take advantage of them. The families will be destroyed, the children like this will be destroyed. So I will be the cause of destruction of society. So Arjuna became full of compassion. Better I live my life by begging and inaction than to engage in warfare and live at the cost of others. So Arjuna, in that, he presented the idea of non-action. Then Krishna told him, you are very foolish. After Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. The whole of the first chapter, Krishna not says one word, not one word, because Arjuna is speaking. You know, when someone's just speaking, what do? You just listen. But when finally Arjuna said, I'm bewildered, I don't know what to do, I surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna gave some advice. And Krishna said, number one, there's no such thing as inaction. There's no such thing as inaction. So better to think of me and perform all your activities. So think of me and fight. Don't be attached to victory or loss. That is not your hand. The results of your activities just give to me. Don't be attached to the result. So one who acts like this acts without attachment, because the result is not theirs. The result is Krishna's. So while performing all activities happily, they remain unattached, like a leaf like a lotus flower in water. Never is in water, but never becomes wet. Okay, so then if you perform all your activities for Krishna, what will happen to you? You'll remember him constantly. Whether your activities are being a mother, being a housewife, being a soldier, being unemployed, right? That's also a job of one sort. In all situations, remember him. So the beginning, this will come by force, because many lifetimes we forgot Krishna. But when that love awakens, then you can remember him 24 hours a day. So that is our answer to the problems of this world. Just remember Krishna. Happiness and distress are temporary, but remembering Krishna is permanent. And if in this material world you perform all your activities for him, what will happen to you at the time of death? Where will you go? So then, where will you go? If you always think of Krishna and always serving him, where would you go?
To him.
Where does he live? Where does Krishna live?
Everywhere.
He lives in the kingdom of God, the spiritual world. We only know the material world, but there's also a spiritual world. All right? So Krishna discusses all these things in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so begin serving him. How can I remember him? So very easy way, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I think my internet for some, I forgot to recharge my phone. I just have a little internet left. So if I cut out, I'm sorry. Like somebody puts on dark glasses, the whole world changes. So in the same way, we don't try and change this world, we just change our vision of it. Now we are very foolish. We think this world is for my enjoyment. I am this body and this world is for my enjoyment, my pleasure. That is the mistake. So by devotion, we'll develop the feeling, I am not this body, I am the soul. And this world is not for my pleasure, this world is for the service of Krishna. It's like if you go to a friend's house and he has money and wallet and phone, you don't steal it because you always remember this belongs to my friend. So there might be so much of everything around, but an honest person is very happy because they won't steal something belonging to their friend. So someone who's not in knowledge, they never think this world is for me. They become free from I and mine. I am this body and what belongs to this body is mine. They become free from I and mine, which is bondage. And they see everything with a vision of service. Like there's a young girl, oh, she is for the service, happiness of Krishna. All type of cheese and food and whatever you see in this world, they see with a mood of devotion. So automatically they become free from attachment, they become free from lust. Because they know this world is not for me, it's not mine. And they can see everything with this mood of devotion. So such a soul, a person who's crossed this lust, greed, this attachment, fear and anger, last week we were just saying, and they only have one desire, service, where they go to serve Krishna eternally. They become free from action and reaction, they become free from karma. They automatically receive the result of having perfect knowledge. I am Krishna's, everything belongs to Krishna. So just by a simple activity of cooking for Krishna, everything else follows behind that. So that if you cook and you offer to Krishna, how that tastes, fully different, because Krishna has accepted it. So Krishna doesn't need anything from us, but we give anything with affection, happily he takes it because of love. So if you love someone, you serve them. So instead of just living for yourself, Soned, why not live with a higher goal in mind, that is the service of Krishna? Nice question. I didn't think we'd get onto these topics, but are there any questions more?
Yes, Madge, Olivia has a question as well. Olivia?
Okay.
Yeah, it goes back a little bit now to what you were saying earlier, but it was the reference
Can you put your camera on so I can see you?
my
I'm
camera.
gonna try and go onto the. I'm gonna steal someone's wireless. Hang on.
Do you have charging?
Which is normally a crime, but because I'm doing it for Krishna's pleasure, there will be no reaction to that. I'm stealing the temple's internet, so it's okay. Okay, hopefully that works.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have no more fear of losing internet.
But your camera is
Yes,
off.
Huh?
Your camera is off.
Oh, okay. Google. Okay. Anyway, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah. Yes, but we can't see you.
Okay, no one sees my ugly face. That's good for you. What's your question, Olivia?
It was basically around the whole criminal free hospital story. Obviously, every individual is then still, so it would be the person who opened the free hospital because he gave him that care, but at the same time would karma be more heavily disposed, obviously, on the criminal that performed the act himself?
Definitely, without a doubt. But some share of that, how much, I don't know, but share of that reaction will go to the owner of the hospital, no?
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, and that was my understanding of it. I just wanted to clarify, that was all.
Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Are you vegetarian?
Trying. I don't eat a lot of meat in general.
Well, don't eat any, that's a good, just
I
like
know.
I only punch my child once a week is still not a good thing,
I
right?
wouldn't punch a child, but
Eating meat's worse, because if you punch someone, you don't kill them, but eating meat means you take their life. I'm just giving an example. Even a little bit of bad activity is still not a good thing.
I limit it to less than 12 animals a year. So I try to, and that's purely because of my own health and experience. So it's something that I'm trying, and I constantly speak to Madhu to try and better my practice.
I'm sure those 12 animals feel relieved by that.
I'm sure.
Anything else from anyone? I can't find Google Meets. Any other questions? So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, this is like, there's a nice example. Like one time, Alexander the Great, we've heard of him. There was a knot, a big knot. I don't know what, of wool or cotton. And it was said who could undo the Gordian knot. It was a famous knot. He would become king of the world. So many, many people came and tried to undo the knot, but they couldn't because it was so huge and so entangled. Then Alexander, he was just a young man, very young. He came and he saw this Gordian knot, immediately took his sword and chopped it in half. Then people began shouting. Half the audience shouted, he's cut the knot. He's opened the knot, so he'll be king of the world. Then other people were saying, no, no, he cheated. So they went to the high priestess of Delphi. And she closed her eyes and gave her decision. Oh, he has cut the knot, he has undone the knot, he will be king of the earth. So devotees, we take that process. How we cut the knot of karma. Hey! How we undo the knot of karma? By the sword of constant remembrance of Krishna. That's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam. One cuts the knot of karma, the reaction of karma, by the sword of constant remembrance of Krishna. So, very easy. We do not have to change our activities. If you're a librarian, stay a librarian. If you're a student, stay a student. If you're married, stay married. There's no need to change the activities. Unless, of course, we're eating meat and doing some bad things. But there's no need to change the externals of our life. We just have to change our direction, who I'm doing it for. We just have to change our vision. So this jewel of remembrance of Krishna gives such a happiness. If someone remembers Krishna, they become blissful. By that happiness that one achieves by remembering Krishna, one becomes unaffected by this world. The miseries of this world will always be there. The miseries of this world will not go away just because you're chanting the holy names. But by remembering Krishna and by chanting his name, you'll feel such a happiness that the miseries of this world don't disturb you. Just like imagine if you got the news that you won the lottery. And when you are dancing because you won the lottery, you stub your toe. Who cares, right? Because of small suffering not stop the big happiness. Anyway, so Krishna gives this advice to us. Many people read Bhagavad Gita and they think, oh my God, this is terrible. Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to kill all his relatives. They read the first chapter, the second chapter, they cannot understand it. Religion means peace, and they give up on understanding it. Krishna is not convincing Arjuna to slaughter all his relatives. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, one cannot avoid action. You're a king. Therefore, your duty is to fight. Your duty is to protect. Therefore, fight and do your duty in this world, but think of me. Well, and Krishna makes very clear, if you read later, the same perfection Arjuna achieved by remembering Krishna on the battlefield, the same perfection anyone can achieve by performing their activities in remembrance of Krishna. Okay. Are there any more questions? Or?
Can I ask about the owner of the hospital? So he created it, and therefore people do evil deeds, not just the person that shot that man. Similarly, so the owner of the world, last time we mentioned it was Brahman. Would Brahman also share a burden of bad karma for the evil deeds of humans? Oh, you're mute. You're on mute.
Matt, you're muted.
Who's muted?
No, right.
Okay, so what was the question? Sorry?
Sure, from the start. Back here, Lena.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question is similarly how the owner of the hospital bears some burden of bad karma from the evil deeds of people that he saved.
Yeah.
The creator of the world, say Lord Brahma, he's the owner of the world per se, and then does he also bear burden of karma from the evil deeds that human?
Because Krishna ordered him to do the creation. On Krishna's order and on Krishna's power, he's doing creation. So because he's acting while remembering Krishna, he experiences no reaction to his activities.
Similarly,
like
to
Arjuna, even though it's like Arjuna, he's killing millions of people, but free from reaction, because he's remembering Krishna. That is the power. But devotee never misuse this power for their own enjoyment. They really do for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Thank you.
Therefore, there's many people not under. There's one nice verse. What is it? I forget the Sanskrit, but any sinful activity offered to Krishna becomes pure. And any pious activity not offered to Krishna becomes sin. Like, for example, I'm walking to the temple. So in the council gardens are some nice flowers. And I steal some for the temple. Oh, I think, I should not go to the temple empty-handed. Let me take some flowers. So to steal is wrong. But because you're offering those flowers to Krishna, that becomes a pious activity. And you want to do some so-called good activity, but you forget Krishna, that becomes bondage, that becomes you can say, a sinful action. So therefore, very hard to understand what is karma and what is not karma. Very hard to understand. It depends on consciousness. If Arjuna can achieve perfection by killing people in war, then why someone cannot achieve perfection by just remembering Krishna in their everyday activities? Okay, Sona, no more cooking for yourself. Who are you cooking for?
Krishna.
Therefore, you read in 3rd chapter, Krishna says, one who cooks for himself eats only sin. One who cooks for himself eats only sin. So spiritual life begins with the tongue. What I speak and what I eat. So if I'm eating foodstuffs cooked for Krishna, then naturally the tongue will always chant his names as well. I remember the first time I cooked Krishna and offered him. I still remember what it was. Apricot halva. Still I remember. When I tasted that, it was like extraordinary. What is this? This is just ordinary food? But why it has such a taste? Because Krishna accepted. Anyway, are there any more questions from the people? So next week we begin our Kartik 1-month festival. So I doubt I'll be free on Sundays. Actually, I know I will not be free on Sundays. So we'll have to little adjust. On rest days, once a week we can do this class during the next month. Next month is a great month. So amazing month. So, it's not so amazing when you're doing it, because you have to wake up at 3 o'clock and and so many, there's like 4 or 5 hours of class every day. But we go to all these places where Krishna did his activities. And we hear what Krishna did, what Krishna spoke, what happened. So this month is too much intoxication, too much happiness. So if you get a chance, Carlos, sell that kidney and try and come. If you can't make it this year, then March is another festival. But if you come and by associating with those who've given their lives to Krishna, that will also come to you. Just like if you associate with lusty and low-class people, you'll become lusty and low-class. And you associate with the saintly persons, the devotees, who have devoted to Krishna. Devotion means to give, no? Who are giving Krishna by their body, mind, words, and soul, by their speech and everything, who give everything to Krishna, then that feeling will also come to you. So it says, Mahatdvara Maho Vimuktas. By associating with low-class persons, one becomes degraded, and by associating with high-class persons, one becomes liberated. One becomes high class. So try to the best association is association with those persons who've given their life to Krishna. Okay, where's Sujana from? Where are you from?
Maharaj, I'm right now in West Bengal,
Are you?
India. Yeah. But
কেমন
I
আছেন?
met. ভালো আছি. Thank you so much.
আপনি
I just
কোথায়
booked
থাকেন?
myself Kalighat in the
Huh?
near temple. Yeah, Kalighat. And I just
Okay.
booked a ticket for Mayapur this weekend.
Why not Vrindavan?
I will. I met Zomitsa at Vrindavan and also in England. So
Who's
I
the
met her
pizza?
last trip. Yeah, Zoe. So I met her last time when she visited during Kartik, when she went to your ashram. So I was there too. So I will do it again, Maharaj.
If you get a chance at the end of Kartik, you come here.
For sure, Maharaj. For sure. Hare
You have an
Krishna.
English accent.
Oh, off and on. It comes and goes.
Okay, so we'll try to arrange class sometime during the week. Sunday will not be possible, but we'll give everyone plenty of advance notice. Okay, Maria, no more acting whimsically. All activities of body, mind, and word for Krishna's happiness. Ready? Just say yes. It sounds like a good thing. Just by supporting my mind, it will come to. I would like to be like that. That is a good thing. One who thinks like that, then Krishna also gives mercy to them. So, okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you
There's
very
one
much.
question from Natasha Stardust.
Okay.
She wrote here, what if you work in well-being support and those you work with are homeless or have addictions or behavioral conditions they are working with? It is 20 hours per week, for example.
Yeah, I could not hear a word of that because of construction outside.
Oh.
What was the question?
What if you work in well-being support and those you work with are homeless or have addictions or behavioral conditions that they are working with? It is 20 hours per week, for example.
Remember Krishna? Remember Krishna? Is that the question?
That's the question. Maybe you want to ask Natasha, is that what you mean? Or
Can't hear her.
she just can't unmute herself. Yeah.
Okay. So, hello.
Haribo. There's fitness and wellness.
So, in the example that has arrived on my awareness is the mixing of people with people, different behaviors of people. I heard that if you mix with 5 clever people, then you become the 6, or if you want to put the maths, you become more 4 people who are healthy, you become.
Yeah.
However, so in my role, I work with many people with many different conditions, behavior, personality, circumstances, some beyond their control, some not. And in that circumstance, if I am, or have been for 30 years, working with people with such natures and trials to deal with, then how is that impacting me?
Well, if one has one's very strong spiritual practice, they won't influence you, but you can influence them.
Mm-hmm.
So one who remembers Krishna, they can change everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but don't take their association. We try to give association.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I think
Good
I
question.
just needed to hear that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you sometime next week.
Thank you so
And
much.
everyone pray that everyone try and have a good Kartik.
Thank
At
you.
least, anyway, we can talk about that next week. Hare Krishna, Radha Radha.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry for sleeping in again during class, but our class time is right after lunch. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.